Much of the region is under a flash flood watch, courtesy of Tropical Storm Bill that promises to bring heavy rains to much of the region. The very latest is on the way.
Strong winds last night destroyed a central Kentucky football field. How the community is coming together to make sure their children have a place to play.
A man convicted of rape and kidnapping charges is sentenced in Lexington.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. WKYT News starts now with First Alert Weather.
Good afternoon. The leftovers of Tropical Storm Bill are rolling into Kentucky, bringing strong storms and flooding.
Our WKYT First Alert Severe Weather Day continues. We begin with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey. He shows us what he's tracking on First Alert Defender.
Guys, similar to the past couple of days, rounds of thunderstorms now marching across central and eastern Kentucky. The remnants of our tropical system pushing in to the western part of the Bluegrass State now, and it is eastbound and down. Should be in here later tonight and tomorrow. What we're seeing on Defender now is a blossoming band of thunderstorms south side of Lexington down toward parts of Richmond. We keep looking at 3D Defender, and every time we look at it, these storms growing a little taller into the atmosphere where you see the darker reds here. That's the worst part of the storm. Strongest part of this that is spiking up there is just to the west of downtown Richmond as of right now. That has a ton of lightning with it right on top of the Round Hill area and just to the north. That'll continue to work its way toward the east, toward Million, Route 169. It's on 876 as of now. Downtown Richmond, a lot of heavy rain coming down, especially from Madison Central High School and points to the north, right on top of Interstate 75 through the Lexington area. South side of town getting in on a lot of thunder and lightning. Just to the southeast of the Jacobson Park area. Here's that thunderstorm that we're looking at on the southern tip of Fayette County as of right now. Very photogenic. To the north of us, general light rains that are falling. Severe thunderstorms south of the Louisville area. Those may contain some damaging winds. The rest of southern and southeastern Kentucky into eastern Kentucky. Showers, thunderstorms weakening out a little bit, but look what's coming in from the west. That is our tropical system, and guys, it has one heck of a radar presentation on that. I mean, you're looking at this thing. It looks like a tropical system that is over the ocean, ready to come ashore into the Gulf of Mexico, like what we were seeing just a few days ago with that. I'll come back in a little bit and show you the impacts as the remnants of our tropical storm work into the Bluegrass State tonight and tomorrow.
As far as the weather damage, they're picking up the pieces of what used to be a football field. Strong winds yesterday caused thousands of dollars worth of damage at a youth football field in Jessamine County.
Hillary Thornton got a look at the damage. She tells us how organizers plan to move forward with the cleanup in our top story at 5:30.
The Jessamine County Youth Football Field, now covered in debris, is a field that's home to a nonprofit league striving to provide a safe, friendly, and fair place for boys and girls to play football. Now picking up the aftermath of Thursday's storm, including a large set of bleachers.
The bad part about it, it takes away from the monies we can spend on the kids.
Bleachers that cost the league about $30,000.
Those bleachers that now sit upside down in the middle of the field came from all the way over along the far fence line.
We'll get them off the field quick as we can. We'll figure out how to pick them up.
League President Donnie Welch says this is not the first time those bleachers have made their way onto the field.
They blew them out there last time. It just blew them right here, and they didn't roll them across the field. So we took them apart and salvaged most of them. So I don't know how much of these we can salvage this time, but we'll try our best.
Trying their best to get everything cleaned up for a free camp going on here next week, when they say dozens of young players will take to the field.
We're going to be here for the boys and girls regardless.
In Jessamine County, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
A GoFundMe account has been set up to help with repairs. You can find a link on our website, WKYT.com. In Harrison County, emergency management officials say the storm damaged a barn on Kentucky 36. They tell us pieces of this barn were scattered across the lawn of a home in Cynthiana. No one was hurt by flying debris.
As we track more storms moving in tonight and this weekend, several events have been canceled for this weekend. Let's start with this one. The Picadome Foot Golf Course grand opening tonight has been canceled. That event will be rescheduled. Lexington's free Friday night flicks at Jacobson Park, canceled. For Saturday, the United Way 5K scheduled at Bluegrass Airport, rescheduled for Saturday, June 27th. But packet pickup will continue today through 6 p.m. at the Herald Leader. And in Clark County, the river sweep has been canceled for tomorrow. To stay up to date on the storms tonight, you can track severe weather even when you're away from your TV. You can download the WKYT First Alert Defender Radar app for your iPad or smartphone. And on WKYT.com, you can take control of an interactive First Alert Defender and zoom into your neighborhood.
11 people need a place to stay tonight after an early morning fire damaged a Lexington duplex. Investigators say the fire started in an apartment on Olympia Drive and moved to the attic. Firefighters say they had to use a saw to cut through the roof to get to the flames. Both families living in the duplex made it out safely. One of the women who escaped says she had to carry her 4 young grandchildren out.
Well, I saw flames starting to shoot up from like where my bedroom is upstairs after we got outside. And I was just thinking, thank God everybody's out.
Firefighters tell us they believe the fire started in a kitchen where some food was left unattended on a stove. The Red Cross is helping both families find a place to stay.
A convicted rapist apologized to his victim after learning how long he'll be in prison. Perico Coffey was sentenced to 33 years in prison this morning for kidnapping, sodomy, and rape. He abducted a stranger from the Speedway on Versailles Road back in 2013 and then sexually assaulted her. Sam Smith has details from the sentencing. He tells us what Coffey had to say today.
Yeah, Coffey was sentenced to 33 years in prison for rape, sodomy, robbery, and kidnapping charges.
Judge, this is Mr. Coffey approaching the podium.
Coffey was in court today for the sentencing for something that happened in December of 2013. He kidnapped a woman from the Speedway gas station on Versailles Road. The victim was eventually able to escape and run for help. U.S. Marshals arrested Coffey in Michigan in February of 2014, 2 months after the attack. Coffey was found guilty of kidnapping, rape, sodomy, and robbery charges. His attorney asked the judge for leniency.
Mr. Coffey had no prior felonies prior to this incident. In one night, basically his life went to hell in a handbasket.
Coffey had a chance to speak in front of the judge, and he took the chance to say he was sorry.
I just want to apologize to the victim and tell her that I'm sorry.
Coffey is ordered to pay more than $900 in restitution. In Lexington, Sam Smith, WKYT.
Also, Coffey will have to register as a sex offender when he's released.
A judge has set a $1 million bond for a 21-year-old man accused of shooting and killing 9 people at a historic black church in South Carolina. Authorities say Dylan Roof opened fire at a Bible study at Emmanuel AME Church in Charleston Wednesday night. He was at the prayer meeting for about an hour before he started shooting. Roof is charged with 9 counts of murder and possession of a firearm. In court today, some of the families of the victims were at the hearing and gave emotional statements.
You hurt me. You hurt a lot of people. But God forgive you. And I forgive you.
The Charleston shooting is not far from the minds of spiritual leaders here in Lexington. The graduates of Lexington Theological Seminary donned their caps and gowns today. New at 5:30, Rebecca Smith tells us why the graduates say their work is needed now more than ever.
Those who walk in Christ know that we have hope in Christ.
At a time when church membership for some denominations is declining, graduates of seminary school like Savaskia Bray Pope know the challenge that lies ahead, trying to bring more people into the church.
It's my responsibility to let them know who we are and who we belong to and where we can find that hope.
Hope, some would say, is just what our country needs right now after another mass shooting that resulted in the loss of 9 innocent people, including a librarian, a coach, and church pastors.
The fact that this shooting happened at a church was not lost on the graduates and the speakers here at Crestwood Christian Church. They say events like the one in Charleston, South Carolina prove their work is needed now more than ever.
That one person could walk into a church and shoot 9 people dead. Some important values are not being passed along.
The question is why these things happen. In an age of information where technology puts data at our fingertips and promises to provide more insight, we still end up sometimes with no answers.
We do get enough information. We're not going to the heart of the problem. So we have these mass shootings in schools, in communities, and then we have Ferguson and other kinds of incidents like this, and we have a hue and cry. What happens 6 months later after the hue and cry? That's what we're teaching our students to focus on.
Graduates like Savaskia know they have a big role to fill in helping us all grow and learn from a tragedy.
Tribulation is going to come into this world. These things are going to happen, but we still have the hope of Christ that we can lean on.
In Lexington, Rebecca Smith, WKYT.
Lexington Theological Seminary is celebrating 150 years as a school of the Christian Church Disciples of Christ.
Savings lost and a family almost destroyed. That's the fallout for one victim lured into a scam targeting senior citizens across the U.S. There's one simple way to avoid being victimized.
It's about losing my father to a bunch of scammers. Somebody that I love and care about, to be able to be taken advantage of like that and mentally destroyed over money.
Terry Liddell says the last 3 years of his father's life were horrible. He lost all of his savings, and the stress of that loss almost destroyed their father-son relationship.
They just took him to the cleaners every way they could.
It all began when Oscar Liddell received a mailing claiming he had won $3 million in a new BMW. All he had to do was pay the fees and insurance, and he would receive his big prize.
He bought into that and sent them the money over and over again.
They started doing some information mining right off the bat. They started wanting to know a little about his background, about his family, and within a week's time, they were calling him 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day.
He was living alone. His wife had predeceased him. He's elderly. His son lived a good distance away during that time. And he really was lonely and vulnerable, and they picked up on that.
And sent Liddell these bags of mail. First, Oscar sent hundreds, then thousands back. In all, he ended up giving the conmen more than $100,000. Postal inspectors also learned the scammers, based in Jamaica, took steps to isolate Liddell from the outside world.
That they were then able to call his telephone carrier and change the passwords to his account, and they blocked all calls that were not coming from them, so he couldn't contact his family.
They just had him totally brainwashed. I couldn't convince him of anything. I tried to get his pastor to talk to him. I tried to get the sheriffs to talk to him, his own accountant, family members.
Terry Liddell is still dealing with the financial problems his father faces and the impact this scam has had on their relationship. He doesn't want other families to experience the same problem.
If anyone gets anything out of this interview, convince your elderly not to fall for the contest. There is no prize. It's a scam. They just want your money.
And a reminder from postal inspectors, no legitimate lottery will ask for money up front.
Candidates for Kentucky governor trading jabs today at their first joint appearance. Later on WKYT News at 5:30, we'll get a look at both of the candidates' campaigns.
Strong thunderstorms marching across parts of central and eastern Kentucky right now. A sign of things to come as we track the remnants of once tropical storm Bill that may bring flooding rains into the weekend. That's next.